The calendar has changed from November to December, and the Golden State Warriors hope it will bring about a change in their play overall and specifically against the Portland Trail Blazers. Today in San Jose, they take on the Blazers once again. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to an afternoon of Golden State Warriors basketball on Sports Channel with Jim Barnett. I'm Greg Papa. Last Friday night, the Warriors faced these Blazers in Portland, Jim, and it turned out to be one of their most difficult losses of the year. It was their most lopsided loss. They lost by 26 points. They did not rebound, and they did not defend in this game at all.
Well, there's no question the Warriors have terrific matchup problems with the Portland Trail Blazers. They were beaten soundly on the boards, 50-27. Portland is the best rebounding team in the NBA. Yesterday, they went over the film session. You know, the Warrior players are watching and did watch the same things we're seeing now. Gary Trent going down the middle, uncontested for a dunk. Clifford Robinson shooting the ball, missing, and no one laying a body on Rasheed Wallace, who is just destroying the Warriors in the 2 games and against Joe Smith. Look what Rasheed Wallace did on Friday night. 20 points, 12 rebounds. That's after 32 points the opening night against Joe Smith and the Warriors. And Gary Trent, in 22 minutes, gets 18 points and double figures in rebounds. These guys are big, they're strong, and right now they're playing with a lot of confidence.
As you mentioned, this is the second time Rasheed Wallace has outplayed Joe Smith this year, both lopsided Portland losses. In the 2 games, Jim, Wallace has outscored Joe 52-31, and he's out-rebounded him 21-10. How does Joe play better against this guy?
Well, that's the ultimate question, because Rasheed Wallace is longer than Joe thinks. He's 6'10". He's also a little stronger. He weighs 230 pounds. And I think some people underestimate the quickness of Rasheed Wallace. I think Joe Smith has to get a body on Rasheed Wallace coming down the floor and not let him set up at the low block. When he allows him to set up at the low block, it's too late. The guy has quickness and he can shoot over the top of you. So you got to get physical with him.
Now, Joe Smith is not the only reason the Warriors lost Friday night and lost to Portland earlier here in November against the Blazers. The bench gave them nothing the other night, Jim. They were outscored 47-16 off the bench. In the 4 Warrior victories this year, the bench has done their job. In the 11 losses, they simply have been nowhere.
Yep, and they've been very inconsistent. A New Jersey game, Marshall came in, played a terrific game, getting 10 rebounds. Ray Owes was all over the floor with 18 points and 11 rebounds. Ray Owes plays 12 minutes the other night, did not score, did not get a rebound. There's no Bimbo Coles. So I don't know what all the answers are, but somehow you've got to get some consistency off the bench. And that's why Rick Adelman is going sometimes to Donald Royal, sometimes it's Ray Owes. But one thing is sure, B.J. Armstrong certainly can play better and can shoot better. And you've got to get some scoring off that bench, too.
And also Donyell Marshall, he left early with a strained hamstring Friday night. We don't yet know if he'll play today. We'll come back and tell you about that in a bit, along with the starting lineups. But for now, we're going to head back inside our studios in San Francisco and check in with Brian Weber.
Golden State Warriors basketball on Sports Channel is brought to you by Chrysler. Take a test drive at your Northern California Chrysler Plymouth dealers today. By Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places. By the Discover Card, proud partner of the Smithsonian's 150th anniversary. By the California Lottery. Is it you? Is it me? Who's next? By your local Ford dealer. See your local Ford dealer today and prepare to be impressed. By Supercuts. For a great haircut, Supercuts every time. By the new Dawn, California's truck stop. And by the Pacific Bell Network. How will you use it?
With Jim Barnett, Greg Papa back inside the San Jose arena, set for the Warriors and Blazers. Part 2. There's your lineups brought to you by Southwest Airlines. The big bad Blazers go with Clifford Robinson at small forward at 6'10", Rasheed Wallace at power forward at 6'10", and Arvydas Sabonis at center at 7 feet 3 inches tall. In the backcourt, Kenny Anderson returns to the starting lineup today. After being reprimanded for missing a shoot-around on Friday, he came off the bench. Isaiah Rider will return home today to Oakland, or the Bay Area. Went to Oakland over the weekend and actually joined the Blazers this morning in San Jose. PJ Carlesimo, 44 and 38, each of his first 2 years in the NBA with the Blazers, and now in year 3, he has them off to a 10-6 start, and they are playing very well lately, having won 6 of their last 7. Warrior starters stay the same. Chris Mullin, small forward. Joe Smith, power forward. Felton Spencer at center. In the backcourt, Mark Price at point guard, and Latrell Sprewell who outside of Michael Jordan is playing the best basketball of any guard in the NBA this year for Rick Adelman. It's a very concerned Rick Adelman. Usually he gives the team a day off after they play back-to-back games, but after playing on Thanksgiving night and Friday night, the Warriors did hold an optional practice and a mandatory film session yesterday. And before the game, about an hour before the game, highly unusual, he was huddled with both George Irvin, who's on the right of your screen, and John Wetzel, who's on the left, along with Rod Higgins. And they were talking in the heavy meetings before this one tipped off.
Well, they had some heavy conversation yesterday with the players, and the players, I think, heard a little verbal wrath from Rick Adelman, who doesn't do that too often, but he made it known that things have to change, and they have to start changing today.
Bruce Alexander, Bennett Salvatore tosses it up, and Tony Brothers are three officials. The Blazers win the tip, and they go first with Kenny Anderson as their starting point guard matched up with Mark Price. Blazers beat the Warriors on Friday night, 119-93. Warriors' worst loss of the season, and this guy had a lot to do with it. Rasheed Wallace misses his first shot of the day.
Even if that had gone down, it was better defense because he caught the ball about 18 or 19 feet from the basket. Joe pushed him out along the baseline. That's what we talked about at the top of the game here.
That's only the 10th shot Wallace has missed against the Warriors this year. He has made 24. Robinson steals. Almost had it taken back, but Kenny Anderson picks it up. And the Blazers come into the front court. Anderson misses. Rebound jumps over Felton Spencer awkwardly, but it is pulled by Mark Price. Sprewell all the way to the bucket. Sprewell playing very well in his matchups with Ryder lately. Foul is called on the help defense of Rasheed Wallace.
Now Anderson just backs up, wide open shot. Spencer is there, but he misplayed the ball. He jumped too soon. The ball bounced off the rim and the glass. And the Portland player who was hanging around had conceded the rebound. If he'd have just stayed there in that one spot, he could have simply laid it in.
Latrell Sprewell with another brilliant performance on Friday against Portland. He scored 32 points, hit 12 of 14 free throws. That's one night after he made 17 of 19 from the free throw line.
Well, when things go bad, you can see the ball goes into the hands of Sprewell. And he had a terrific third quarter, really kept the Warriors in the game, Greg. But pretty soon it was him going against not only one player, Ryder, but two and sometimes three, and you just can't survive that way.
Blazers off to a slow start offensively. They missed their first three shots. And the Warriors take a 4-0 lead as Felton Spencer takes the dish off from Mark Price.
I'll tell you, Price cut through the defense, sliced between two, and hesitation and go, and then a little drop back pass. That was a terrific play.
Kenny Anderson. It's Ryder on the curl, back out to Robinson. Into Sabonis. Sabonis has not done much against the Warriors this year. Stumbles to an air ball there. Good defense by Felton Spencer. And Sabonis very slow getting back down the floor. Although the word is he's been moving quite well this year. Just not against the Warriors. Sprewell misses. Ryder leaks out early. Warriors will get a foul here. Sprewell fouling Kenny Anderson, but actually that turned out well for the Warriors because Ryder was up the floor for a dunk.
Sabonis steps out, and Mark Price goes right down the middle. Now he just kind of freezes Rasheed Wallace, a little drop back pass to Spencer. Spencer has to follow the play, otherwise that's a turnover, but that was a great read by Mark Price.
Chris Mullin overplaying the passing lanes, able to tip it out. Mark Price likes that drop back pass, does that quite a bit. He'll have his hands full today with a lightning quick Anderson. Shot blocked. Anderson gets quite a few of his shots blocked. In fact, he led the league last year. Here's a push as they battle for a rebound. Felton Spencer will pick up the violation. It's his first of the afternoon. P.J. Carlesimo quietly confident about the prospects of his basketball team. He knows they are very big, and also they are very deep. They have players coming off the bench that can help. Rasheed Wallace snuffed out again as Felton Spencer helps out with the block. Mullin, the quick three, and the Warriors have a 7-0 lead.
He had to get that up a little higher because Clifford Robinson at 6'9" knew Mullin was in a shooting rhythm.
No timeout called by PJ. He simply called like Riley calls when he's in trouble, the fist play. They don't have Abdul-Jabbar to turn to. This fist play results in Sabonis going up top and a foul down low on Mullen. Here's the block by Felton Spencer helping out Joe.
I'll tell you, that's a great play, and if you can get some of that, then Mullen comes back with that three, and that was from way downtown.
Here's your matchup. Wallace against Joe. Price over to double. Wallace has already missed 3 shots today. Foul on Arvydas Sabonis as Spencer wins another battle inside.
Well, could we be previewing perhaps an off game from Rasheed Wallace finally for P.J. Carlesimo? He's been so good against the Warriors, better than he's been against any other team in the league.
Portland yet to make a shot. They have not scored a single point, and Wallace has missed half of those 8 shots. He's 0 for 4. Mullen stumbles, and Mullen's going to get up and be hot about this. It's an over and back violation. I think he's claiming the ball at the very least was deflected by a Blazer. If not, in fact, he thinks he was fouled on the play.
Well, let's watch Clifford Robinson fight through the screen of Felton Spencer. He just got tripped. It's as simple as that. Unfortunately, the officials did not call a foul, and I don't blame them. It's just a bad luck play.
And obviously, the ball was never touched by a Blazer. If there's no foul call, it has to be over and back. Joe Smith stepping up a bit against Rasheed Wallace. This matchup goes all the way back to their collegiate days when Wallace badly outplayed Joe in the '95 ACC semifinal, scoring 33 points for Wallace. That was a college career high. And of course, he has his pro career high against Joe when he scored 32 here on November the 5th. And then he came back with 26 more, or pardon me, 20 more on Friday night. Foul. Joe Smith picks up his first, pushing Rasheed Wallace. Wallace likes to go to the baseline. And
they're still isolating with Wallace and giving him the ball despite his missing his first 3. Here goes another time.
He travels this time. He does not like to turn towards the middle. He would far prefer to take it to the baseline. Yeah. Carlesimo still calling his number.
And he likes the baseline, doesn't matter whether he's on the right or the left side.
And now Carlesimo is going to call a 20-second timeout. Warriors jumped on the Blazers quickly on Friday night, you'll recall. They also led by 7 in the game's early moments, leading by a score of 14-7. And today they're up 7-0. Good defense by Joe Smith against Rasheed Wallace. They are both just 22 years of age. They both would be in their senior seasons, both at North Carolina and at the University of Maryland, Jim, had they elected to stay all 4 years.
You know, I recall seeing Rasheed Wallace at North Carolina, and I just didn't think he was this mobile. He seems to have a lot more agility than I do remember. I knew he had size, but his athleticism to me is surprising.
Springwell against Ryder.
And when Ryder wants to work on defense, he can go to work on it. He could be a terrific defender.
Tough pass. Mullen throws it away as Mullen was given the ball in the area where he was already double teamed. Portland yet to score, but Sabonis will take care of that. And a nice pass by Ryder. Arvydas Sabonis, his shots are down this year, and Carlesimo does very readily admit that his club may have a bit of a problem as far as keeping everybody happy with shots. They have scores all over the floor on this team.
Yes, they do. And they've got scores on the bench waiting to come in.
Felton Spencer blocked by Rasheed Wallace. Hangs with it, gets blocked again, but he gets himself on the free throw line. Second foul of the game on Sabonis. This is the 3rd time in 3 matchups with the Warriors that Sabonis has gotten into first quarter foul trouble.
Mullen has a lot of confidence in Felton Spencer and his ability to read a play in a 2-man game and go to the right spot, because Mullen just simply threw that out there knowing that Spencer would be in that spot, and Spencer did work after the initial block to get himself to the line.
As expected, Chris Dudley enters. Sabonis leaves just 4.5 minutes into the game with 2 fouls. Carlesimo said before the game, this is not a problem when Dudley comes in for Sabonis. In fact, at times it creates better floor balance because Dudley's the one guy on the floor who does not need to touch it and shoot it to be effective. And Sabonis does.
Yeah, Dudley's going to be your defender, shot blocker. You know, even Clifford Robinson is becoming unselfish. I always thought he was a guy that fought shoot first, pass second. So with this club, he seems to be very content just to playing with everybody else.
Now shots are way down, about a dozen a game this year. And last year, 18 a game. I wonder if he'll be happy about that throughout the year because Clifford Robinson is in the final year of his contract. It doesn't always work out that way that you have to score to get the money. He's not lately. Joe Smith to miss. Portland throws the outlet away. Sprewell just jumps all over it. Look at that quickness by Sprewell. I'd like to see him play defensive back in the NFL, Jim. He could hang, couldn't he?
He also has great anticipation. Yeah, he could just run with anybody and when he makes a mistake, he can make up for a lot of lost ground.
So he closed on that mistake quickly. Shot clock down to 6 for Portland. Ryder, another three-point goal. Rebound Dudley touches but cannot take. The Warriors lead 11-2. Nice save by Price over the sideline. Sprewell dancing forecourt. Mullen races down the miss. Spencer over Chris Dudley, and now P.J. Carlesimo needs a full Portland timeout. Halfway through this first quarter, the Warriors lead 13-2. This tough early season schedule will ease this week for the Warriors. They're going to take on 4 clubs with sub-500 records, beginning with the Denver Nuggets on Tuesday night here at the San Jose Arena. We'll have that game for you at 7:30.
Here's that outlet pass where Sprewell pounces upon and then just weaves right down the middle. He didn't worry about Kenny Anderson, and he also didn't worry about Clifford Robinson at the rim. Mullen picks it up. Now, Felton Spencer averages under 4 points a game. He already has 6 in the first half of the first period today.
Warriors up by 11. Rasheed Wallace yet to score. He is 0 for 5 from the floor. 0 for 6. Warriors try to take advantage. Mullen finds Sprewell wide open for 3. It is 16-2.
Good play by Mullen. He had a wide open shot, passed it up, and he drew the defense. And Sprewell put his toes right next to the line. He almost had to step back a little bit because he was scrunching right into that line to stay behind the 3.
There's a double foul, I believe, here. Clifford Robinson and also Chris Mullen. For Mullen, it's his second foul of the game. And that's going to force him off the floor. He and Robinson were in a basketball version of a gridlock. Donald Royal will come in. You know, you and I talked on the plane home after the game Friday night, Jim. And last night I spoke with our producer, Vaughn Kilgore, on the phone. We talked about how do the Warriors beat this team. We were all perplexed for ideas. But basically, we felt the Warriors needed to come out and play much, much harder than Portland and much harder than they had previously. And today, they certainly are doing that.
They're doing that, and they're also spacing. Everybody's moving. You're not standing around and watching somebody try to score. And defensively, see 5 guys are hanging in for rebounds.
Well, they really closed on Kenny Anderson. A foul is called on the pass, says Bennett Salvatore. And it's on Joe Smith, his second of the game. So now the Warriors facing a little adversity, not on the scoreboard, but more in the personal foul column.
This is one of the problems. Kenny Anderson can beat Mark Price off the dribble. Now, Joe Smith didn't even leave his feet. Spencer did, but it looked like Kenny Anderson was going to be nullified inside, and Joe doesn't like the foul. I don't think Rick Allen likes it. It's just a tough break. They need him on the floor.
Andrew DeClerc is going to come in here to replace Joe, so the Warriors get back-to-back rough breaks from the referees involving the foul totals. Mullen's out, Royal in, Joe Smith is out, and Andrew DeClerc is in.
Well, Joe Smith thus far has done a great job on Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace has had a little bit of hard luck on the shots. They bounced around and off, but let's see how Andrew DeClerc can play him.
16-4 after Anderson's pair of free throws. Warriors going right into Felton Spencer today. And a foul on Chris Dudley is first.
Sometimes you go to sleep, you worry about all the scores, and you forget about a guy who doesn't usually get the ball too much. But this is simply a play call for Felton Spencer one-on-one, and he created the foul and the position of Dudley that Dudley couldn't do anything about it.
Well, what a major surprise. Felton has already, if he makes this free throw, would have doubled his season average. Well, he didn't make the free throw, but he has time in 7 minutes of play. He has scored 7 of the Warriors' 17 points here.
And they got an offensive rebound off a free throw. I haven't seen that very often this year.
Especially against Portland. They are the ones that have been devouring the boards, and in particular the offensive boards. 17-4, the Warriors lead. We are 7 minutes into this one inside the San Jose Arena, which has many open sections this afternoon. Not a big crowd.
Look at the help from Donald Royal. And still recovered on Robinson.
Kenny Anderson, a three-point goal, rebounded by Robinson into Dudley, and a foul is going to be laid on Felton Spencer. Well, that's his second foul. See how Alleman plays it. He may just leave Spencer on the floor here. He's playing so well. Nope, he's going to get Todd Fuller off the bench. So the Warriors' entire starting front line of Mullen, Smith, and Spencer are each on the bench, or going to be on the bench in a moment when Felton joins them with 2 personal fouls apiece. Modest numbers for Dudley, although that's basically what he does. He's a much better rebounder than 4 in 22 minutes. He'll be closer to 8 most nights.
Well, talking to Rick Carlisle, their assistant coach, he said he's worth every bit. And Felton Spencer worth every bit of things today because he's come off the floor with 2 fouls, but he was an impactful player during this first quarter. Well, Dudley's just a great guy. Yale, and he's a very giving person, giving up $300,000 to I Have a Wish Foundation in Portland, Oregon. I don't care how much money you make, you give away $300,000. That's a huge chunk.
Foul here on Todd Fuller on the missed free throw, as Dudley will come up light, and Fuller will go over the back.
Yeah, he just did not get in soon enough. That's something rookies have to learn, that veterans in this league cheat on the second free throw.
So Robinson foul, goes back on the line. You mentioned Dudley's charitable work. He was awarded the J. Walter Kennedy Citizenship Award last year in the NBA, named after the former commissioner. Another foul here on the Warriors, and Fuller, in a span of seconds, picks up 2 fouls. So now Mullen, Smith, Spencer, and Fuller, 4 big guys, have 2 fouls.
Now here's Dudley on the defensive end off a missed free throw. See how early he gets in there? This was the rebound that Donald Royal and the Warriors recovered. Here's the last play. Now watch Fuller. Long rebound. It goes to Rasheed. I have no idea what the whistle was for. I have no idea why the whistle was called.
Boy, as you flip around the channels today, I doubt you'll see pushing, shoving like that in many NFL lines. Another quick foul. The referee's really taking the game here a little too much. What's the technical foul's been called on John Wetzel, the Warrior assistant coach, by referee Bennett Salvatore. Kenny Anderson will shoot it. Warriors off to such a good start this afternoon, and now all their big guys are in foul trouble. Kenny Anderson makes it 17-8.
There's John Wetzel. That's the first for him this year. Remember, he was a head coach with Phoenix. Mild-mannered.
In the late 80s, he preceded Cotton Fitzsimmons. I think the second time. I lost count with Cotton. There's Mark Price. Oh, that ball was on there, and DeClerc swept it away.
And it might have been going down.
I think it may have had a chance, and then DeClerc just punched it out of there. Full of the rebound. Warriors trying to re-energize after the game was slow to a crawl because of the fouls. Royal is going to get a foul on Portland as he busts right through their defense. And it's on Clifford Robinson, and that's his second foul of the game.
Pass back to Isaiah Ryder. Sprewell from behind. Watch the shot. Ryder looking for a foul, does not get the whistle.
Donald Royal in the game early today because Chris Mullen picked up a couple of fouls. Also, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Daniel Marshall was a question mark with a strained right hamstring, an injury suffered Friday in the second quarter against Portland, just jogging up the floor. He pulled that hamstring. Well, obviously, you can tell by his garb today, Daniel will not be playing. Gary Trent makes his first appearance of the afternoon, replacing Clifford Robinson, who has to leave with those 2 fouls. Gary Trent now going to play in tandem with Rasheed Wallace, something Cardissimo says he does periodically, and he plays Trent at the small forward and Wallace at the power forward.
Well, most of the time last year in his rookie season, Trent was the small forward, but he's more comfortable as the power forward. And they're playing pretty well exclusively him at the power forward right now. He goes back to the 3 position.
Missed his first shot of the day. Rasheed Wallace is 0 for 6. Portland cannot make a shot today. Portland as a team, 1 for 15 from the floor. So 6 of their 8 points have come from the free throw line. Here goes Gary Trent against Royal. I think Wallace and Trent are just trying too much. Maybe in light of their success against the Warriors on Friday, Jim, trying to force stuff that's not there.
Young players sometimes try to do too much too soon. And I always say this, let the game come to you. Sure, you take charge of it, but don't try to go in and become an immediate scorer once you step onto the floor.
Sprewell gets inside and scores over a double team. What a great shot by Latrell Sprewell.
He couldn't have done that a couple of years ago. As good as he was a couple of years ago, he just didn't simply have those kinds of moves and that kind of confidence to go. That was a terrific shot.
Warriors have weathered the foul trouble storm and reclaim a lead of 13, and now a foul's been called on Andrew DeClerc, they say. Is that DeClerc or Mark Price?
I think it's DeClerc.
They called it on Andrew DeClerc inside. For DeClerc, that's his first foul of the game. Warriors getting another good first quarter from Sprewell. He has 9 of their 21 as they lead the Blazers by 13. Warriors playing much better today than they did Friday in Portland in losing to the Blazers. In particular, doing a much better job against the combination of Rasheed Wallace and Gary Trent. They scored 20 and 18 points respectively for P.J. Carlesimo. Before the game today, we sat down with the outgoing coach of the Blazers and asked him about his duo of Wallace and Trent.
I think Rasheed is just a real gifted athlete. Should only be a senior in college. He's big. He can run the floor. He's got good hands. He shoots the ball outside. He can block shots. He's the whole package. All he needs, I think, is the time to play and experience and perhaps a little strength. He's much stronger than he is when he came out of Carolina. And I think with us, it's a better situation. Not that Washington didn't use him correctly. When we got Chris Webber and Juwan Howard, I mean, how many minutes are there for guys at those positions? The big difference with Gary this year and last year, he was a very good player last year as a rookie, but he's more consistent this year. He's doing things. He always gives you, when Gary's in the game, he makes things happen. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But the ratio this year is much better. He's doing a lot more good things and a lot fewer bad ones.
Well, all the things he did Friday, or most of them, were good against the Warriors today. Gary Trent's 0 for 1 from the floor. Rasheed Wallace is 0 for 6 from the floor. And the Warriors taking full advantage. Kenny Anderson makes it a 21-10 Warrior advantage. Now, it's almost like Wallace and Trent, Jim, are viewing this game like the 5th quarter of the game that was played Friday night. You can't do that.
No, it's a separate thing altogether. And that's why I wasn't worried about a 26-point blowout at the end. That they would be, you know, the Warriors would be down from it. They call a traveling violation.
Another very curious call. Sprewell called for a travel before the ball was slapped away by Kenny Anderson. What do you think here?
Let's watch as he comes down. Yep, I think he took a step.
First shot of the afternoon from Aaron McKee, who also had a very good game off the against the Warriors on Friday in a starting role for Kenny Anderson. Dudley able to create a jump ball, battling with Andrew DeClerc.
Fuller misses it. I'm waiting for Fuller. He's come off the bench the last 7 games. I don't think he's played well since Shaquille O'Neal was in this arena.
Warriors going to their bench now. B.J. Armstrong in for Price. Keep in mind what we told you at the top of the show. Look at those shooting numbers. They're shooting 5.5%, Portland. I've never seen that before.
Well, it's going to change, and the Warriors have to recognize that.
1 out of 18? I lost my thought. What was I going to say? 1 out of 18. Kenny Anderson blocked. Anderson again. They're 1 for 20, Portland. 21. Oh, my, what a performance here.
You can push this one. You've got the number advantage.
Warriors bench needs to play well, as I got my thought back. Remember, there are 4 victories. The bench has given them contribution. In the 11 losses, nothing.
Yeah, 27.5 points.
Block, Dudley against DeClerc. And those numbers are rated over a 48-minute game, keep in mind. Ball tipped, missed shots everywhere. Portland's 1 for 21 from the floor. got to dig into the record books here. 90 seconds to go in the first quarter. This team shot 52% against the Warriors on. Well, now their numbers go up. On Friday night, they are 2 for 22. Well, their low quarter is 11 against Seattle. That was in Seattle on November 2nd. They also scored at home on the 13th. Only 13 in the first quarter. That's their low first quarter total, and they're below that now. Well, the point total's not that bad. You have 12, which isn't really great, but it's the shooting numbers. 2 for 22. What are we shooting from midcourt today? They had good shots at times. Here's Trent trying to get it going here. No, another miss, and that's an offensive goaltend on the over-anxious Dudley. So the second miss will not be a shot, but the first one by Trent will be. Gary Trent's one for himself.
Well, this one might have been going down also. Let's see. Probably was rolling out. Probably was rolling out.
50 seconds to go in a forgettable first quarter for P.J. Carlesimo. P.J. Armstrong. Well, maybe the bench will give the Warriors something today. He may be the most important player off the bench as far as scoring. He's the one guy, Jim, that can give you offense off the bench, P.J. And I think also he's got to get a little tougher defensively on a guy like Kenny Anderson. He's looking for help down the middle. That was not B.J.'s fault. Mitchell Butler in the game for the first time, missing a long one. Warriors race out. Shot clock is on. 20 to shoot there and 24 to shoot in the quarter. Sprewell saw the clock, pulled it back. They also called Rick Allen to his left. And Todd Fuller gets to redo his Velcro on the sneaker. There's a foul. This one's on Portland's Kenny Anderson. You mentioned that Anderson's tough for BJ to stop. Well, certainly should be the other way around. Also, Kenny is not a very good defender.
You know, you've got to have that mentality. And BJ knows that Kenny Anderson is terrific off the dribble. So he's got to get some points on the board himself and take it to the basket.
Rather modest numbers this year for B.J. Armstrong. Arvydas Sabonis comes back in from Portland. Chris Dudley will take a late first quarter rest. A reminder once again, the Denver Nuggets will be in the the San Jose Arena on Tuesday night. Our first look at the Nuggets under Dick Motta taking over for Bernie Bickerstaff last week. Good seats are still available for that ball game. So contact Bass and make your plans to come down on Tuesday. The Warriors will be in Phoenix Wednesday night. Then they have 2 home games next Friday and Sunday against Indiana and San Antonio before going on the road for a week to the East Coast.
Last 10 seconds. Keep it on the outside if you possibly can. Don't allow penetration. Well, that went by the wayside.
Well, he broke it down, but then the ball was deflected out. A late recovery of sorts. 4.7 seconds to play. In the first quarter, which has seen Adelman's Warriors play remarkably better than certainly the last 2 quarters Friday. They were only down 3 points in halftime on Friday night. The second half was disastrous. Sabonis! What a shot that was. Highly unlikely with 1.7. He drained that, but that's what the big man can do. Warriors have time here. Sprewell off the side of the backboard. So Sabonis made that shot, which will increase Portland shooting a little bit. They made 3 baskets the entire quarter. They were 3 out of 24, and yet the Warriors only lead by 11 points after 12 minutes of play. It's time for today's 50 Years, 50 Stars choice presented by the Examiner, the afternoon paper. One of the most popular Warrior players in recent memory. 2 different stints with the Warriors, and now an assistant coach. Rod Higgins, 4th in the Warriors' all-time 3-point field goals made category. And that really was what distinguished his career, as he was encouraged by George Karl and assistant coach Ed Gregory at the time to become a 3-point shooter, Jim. And he would slip inside occasionally, but where he hurt the opponents was with his very smart fundamental play and that outside shot.
Well, you credit Ed Gregory because George Karl said we need a 3-point shooter, and Ed Gregory said you give the ball to Higgins, give him confidence that he's going to be the go-to guy from 3-point range, and he can live up to those expectations. He certainly did. Outstanding shooting from the outside, and quite frankly, he still shoots with these guys in practice sometimes and wins a lot of the contests.
Rod Higgins, one of the most likable guys in all of sport. Donald Royal blocked by Sabonis, stays with it, and he is fouled. Donald Royal hanging tough inside, and he'll get himself on the free throw line. I asked Rod the other day about aspirations of becoming a head coach in the NBA, and he said initially yes, and then I said, "You want to work that hard?" He said, "Oh, maybe not." He has two young sons, Rick and Corey, and certainly assistant coaches work very, very hard, Jim, but not at the level nor the mental anguish that is constantly upon a head coach.
Everything is a trade-off.
There's his oldest boy, I believe. That's Rick.
That's Ricky. And you've got Corey, who's somewhere around here, but they're, by the way, very good movie reviewers, as we know from our Roundtable TV show, reviewing Space Jam. But everything's a trade-off. You don't make $1 million by being an assistant coach. Now, someday in the league, maybe you will. I don't know. But there's a lot of pressure on a head coach. But I would think that Rod would like to do it someday.
Arvydas Sabonis has hit 2 in a row. Portland had hit just 2 of their first 23 shots. Sabonis makes an awkward one to close the first quarter and begins the second quarter with a 3-point goal.
Well, the Warriors only shot 35% themselves in the first quarter. Well, BJ had a shot, but he took the dribble, and the defense recovered.
Shot clock is down. Illegal defense called on Sabonis, who's kind of hanging in the middle. It's the first time the Blazers called for illegal defense. The Warriors will inbound from the side. The Warriors are playing now B.J. Armstrong, Latrell Sprewell backcourt. The front line of Donald Royal. Ray Owes is in for the first time this afternoon. And Felton Spencer returns after a 7-point first 8 minutes. And then he had a couple of fouls and was forced to the bench.
Well, speaking of the bench, the Warrior bench scored 6 points in the first quarter to the Blazers 2. This is an illegal screen by Felton Spencer.
And it's his third foul.
That's his third foul. But back to the point here. Warriors outscored off the bench. They outscored their opponents 6-2. They also out-rebounded their opponents, ready for this break, 8-5 off the bench.
Have you ever seen a player pick up fouls more rapidly than Felton Spencer? It's incredible. He just gets in the game, he gets warm again, and boom, he's out for probably the rest of the half.
Yeah, today, Todd Fuller. Totally not. No, in fact, we were talking about that in Portland the other night, Ray. Whereas Spencer, personal fouls so far this year, 49 as a Warrior, and points 49 coming into the game. That's the same.
He has 7 points today and 3 fouls. Sprewell, no foul. Up the floor, Butler to Ryder. Nice play by, beautiful play by Ryder. As he was able to lock him up, get low, get coy, and then score it. The Warrior lead, which was 14, is down to 5 at 26-21. Pick and roll, Owes and B.J. Armstrong, well defended by a good defender. Aaron McKee is a tough player. B.J. takes a bad shot, a fading long one, with McKee right in his face.
Well, that was a 12 o'clock noon game, and perhaps the Blazers were still asleep in the first quarter, but they have been awakened.
We saw that last week with Charles Barkley and the Houston Rockets here, eh? Across the lane, Ryder strip, Trent picks it up, shot blocked, but another foul on the Warriors. This one's going to be on Ray Owes. Joe Smith will come back in. Likewise for Chris Mullin.
Can't see it from that angle, but Ryder did get the basketball, did not get the wrist. Here, look at Sprewell stays down on the floor. Ryder just outlasts him in the lane, and Ray Owes could not get to the ball.
Ray Owes has a hard time matching up with this guy, Gary Trent. Ray Owes played only 2 minutes, and now he's off the floor. So is Royal, as Mullin and Smith re-enter.
Well, this last foul for Trent, he just picked up a little loose ball inside. Everybody was scrambling for it, and he just found the little jewel, got himself to the line. Nope. 22 minutes, 18 points, 10 rebounds. He and Rasheed Wallace were the only Blazers in double digits in rebounds.
And he watched the tape of that game yesterday. Gary Trent did. Says he watches videotape incessantly, both at home and on the road.
He wants to get better. He went to Pete Mills' big man's camp this summer to improve his footwork.
11-1 Portland run here. Joe Smith up over Trent. It bounces in.
For his first basket of the day and first points of the day.
Although Joe did play very good defense in the first quarter against Rasheed Wallace, right through the midst of Isaiah Ryder. Ryder's had to back off a little bit offensively playing for this team. He was the best offensive option his years in Minnesota with the Wolves, but here in Portland, he's just one of the guys that can score.
Right, under 14 a game, career average of 18.8.
Gary Trent locks up Joe. Joe has to go over him.
Yep, Sabonis was waiting. He couldn't get any closer.
Ball fumbled. That's out of bounds off of Arvydas Sabonis. Warriors will keep the basketball with a fresh shot clock. We have played 3.5 minutes in the second quarter. Mullen to B.J. Armstrong. Aaron McKee's now playing point guard for Portland. He's their backup point guard. He can also play the big guard. Mullen wide open.
Nice penetration by B.J. Went around Sabonis. You don't see B.J. making those kinds of plays that very often, breaking down the defense. That should give him a little confidence. He needs to do that for himself and the club.
Sabonis getting deeper. He's getting more aggressive. You can see it. Trent the miss. Sabonis tips once. Picks up a loose ball foul. Arvydas has number 3.
Yeah, I'm surprised he even tried to get that one. He looks more tired this year, and this we're talking about the early part of the season. Here's the play by B.J. Sabonis cannot cut off the angle. B.J. penetrates, just brings in that defense and leaves a wide open Mullen.
Rasheed Wallace is back in, Jim. He's playing center here with Sabonis. I asked P.J. Carlson about that before the game. I said, is something wrong with Sabonis? He looks just slow and tired. He said, against you guys, he has been. But overall, he's been one of our best players, and many nights we would not have done well without him. And he's flying around the floor. Mullen the miss. Joe Smith, the long rebound.
Yeah, I heard him say that they'd like to play him like 28 minutes a game, which is over his 23 he's playing right now.
Foul on Mitchell Butler. That's his second foul. The fouls are really piling up. The Warriors have been whistled for 12. Portland 11. It has taken any sort of tempo away from this game.
Ryder wanted to put it on an official jersey and have a whistle. He thought that was traveling. It was not by Sprewell.
He locked it up just in time. Did not dribble again. Tough shot by Joe Smith. Rebounded by Aaron McKee. McKee came off the, he already got poked in the eye.
Yes.
Came off the bench today, but in the start on Friday, he had a season-high 17 points. For Rasheed Wallace, that's his first hoop of the day. He has made 2 free throws. He is 1 for 7 in shooting today. And also keep in mind, he's the second-best floor shooter in the NBA this year, behind only Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, McKee brought the ball up the floor. He was the last guy up because he was nursing that eye, and he still managed to get all the way down into the lane and create a little 8-foot shot for Rasheed Wallace. That's a breakdown of your defense. Now the Warriors just throw that one away, just like Ryder missed one a moment ago.
Warriors 7th turnover. Maybe Aaron McKee was pulling a Jim Brown, faking the eye injury, Jim, and then bolting. But Brown used to go back to the huddle like he'd never run another play, and then he'd go for 63 yards.
Right. All in 9 years.
He had that acting career waiting. Mullen, the rebound. I wonder if he regrets that decision. Springwell with goaltending. Ryder swept it away. What a nice step by Latrell Springwell to get that up softly with a left hand.
Yeah, you talk about ballet. You're going to have a great angle on this. Just watch this. And look where he takes off from, and watch the release. Oh, this is very graceful. Very graceful, and I think it was going down. Evidently, Ryder felt that way. He just said, I'll just block it away and just have fun with it.
That's why this game is the most popular sport in the world. There's a little bit of art in this game, quite a bit, much like ballet.
Now, Ryder traveled on that play as he caught the ball.
Wallace with the hook misses. He's 1 for 8. Mullen the rebound. The Warriors are rebounding Portland. That's a big story. 23-17. Make it 24. And a foul on Mitchell Butler, his 3rd of the game.
Mullen kept that one alive for Joe Smith. And I'm glad to see B.J. shooting the basketball.
Warriors lead by 7. Timeout midway through the second quarter. All right, Mr. Weber, if you don't get enough of Jim Barnett during our broadcast today, turn the sound of 11 o'clock and you'll hear Jim's thoughts on this one in a 30-minute condensed variety. Sports Channel Light. This game replayed at 11 o'clock. Warriors lead the Portland Trailblazers by a score of 32-25. We are midway through this second quarter. San Jose Arena is going to be a busy place this entire winter with the Warriors and Sharks both playing here, of course, and also a lot of college games. Mayor's Cup will come up later on today with Santa Clara taking on San Jose State. Both the men's and women will be playing. Joe Smith knocks down his first free throw. I'm sure Brian will have more details on this throughout the afternoon today, but very disturbing news around the NBA out of Houston, where Hakeem Olajuwon is back in the hospital after suffering a second bout of the irregular heartbeat. And this was just in about a 10-day or 2-week period.
And they downplayed the first attack, which wasn't his first overall. Look at this steal by BJ inside. You know what? Warriors just weren't playing like this before. BJ's going to get himself to the line. Terrific play. I want to go back to Olajuwon. This was very alarming, I think, for him to go back and be re-hospitalized.
Well, certainly in the short proximity of the first hospitalization this time. It also happened to him back in '91. Wallace throws the inbounds away, intended for McKee, and B.J. Armstrong is simply out hustling him for the ball.
It's just called aggressiveness. And finally getting fed up, you know. Remember the movie? You're mad as heck. Not going to take it anymore. It's going to change things. They didn't say heck in the movie, but
it's a family show, Jim. I know.
I know.
B.J. Armstrong has 4 off the bench today after not scoring. He didn't score a single point against this team on Friday night.
You know, it finally comes down to that. After a while, you look at yourself in the mirror and you got too much pride. You didn't get to this level by being complacent and letting people step all over you. So you push yourself a little bit harder.
A lot of basketball yet to go today. We're just midway through the second quarter. Warriors are up 10. Robinson doubled. Clifford back into the game here. Here's Aaron McKee, 3-point shot. Mullen tipped that rebound, but Mullen able to take it away from him.
Mullen, if he just hangs in there, he maybe not be able to get the rebound himself as an individual, but he can keep it alive. He's done that at both ends of the floor.
Joe Smith stumbled. And they do get a travel. The baseline referee who was closest to the play, Salvatore, was not going to call it, but from behind, Tony Brothers did it. Whistle the Warriors for their 8th turnover of the day.
Bennett evidently said it wasn't a traveling violation, or simply looked to overlook it.
Aaron McKee playing the point guard with Kenny Anderson resting. Here's Gary Trent into McKee.
Warriors aren't doubling that much, and I think it's better defense for him. Now they come in once he got inside.
Well, they have to. He's just too big for B.J. Armstrong. Aaron McKee goes 6 feet 5 inches tall.
B.J. That's his 5th shot attempt in 9 minutes today. He's made 2. And he's been to the line 4 times, 4 attempts. So that means he's being aggressive again and looking with a little confidence. I think Mullen did a terrific job on Robinson up in Portland.
And he's working hard on him today. Robinson has not made a basket. Just 1 free throw. Ryder, tough fade, missed. Rebound to Sprewell. And now a whistle as they come up the floor. What has been a Salvatore hand. Foul on Rasheed Wallace of Portland. He threw an elbow.
Might be, yeah, a little technical.
Yep. A flagrant. It's a flagrant foul, they call it. See what he does. Ooh, little slap away, and there you have it. That's called a flagrant foul. So for Rasheed Wallace, that's his 2nd foul of the day. He's pulled off the floor. The Warriors will get 2 free throws from Andrew DeClercq, and they will keep the basketball.
Yeah, the first time that he threw the elbow was more or less the arm, just kind of trying to get untangled. But the second one was what was noticed by the official.
Kenny Anderson back in for Portland. Anderson was the big free agent signee of the Blazers over the summer. They gave him almost $47 million over 7 years. The other 2 main acquisitions they obtained via trade, getting Isaiah Ryder from the Wolves in a trade, and also Rasheed Wallace in a trade. Timeout called by P.J. Carlesimo. The Warriors spurt right back on Portland. The Warriors have outscored them 13-4 in the last couple of moments. The Warriors go up by a dozen with 4.5 to go in the half. Golden State Warriors this afternoon beginning a stretch where they're going to play 4 of 5 here at the San Jose Arena. Denver on Tuesday. Then home games next weekend for Indiana on Friday and San Antonio next Sunday evening. And the best way to come down to the South Bay is to do it with a bunch of folks. Call the Warriors and ask about group tickets. They're at 510-986-2222. Former head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, Rick Adelman, has had a hard time in the matchups against Portland as the Warrior coach. Last year, Portland beat the Warriors 3 or 4 times, and they have won the first 2 times they have met this year, both decidedly. This is the 3rd matchup. Quick foul here on Kenny Anderson, whistled by Bruce Alexander for Kenny, his 2nd foul of the game.
And that's the 15th foul on the Blazers. You know, the tough matchups usually means you're more in foul trouble than the other club. But today so far, the Warriors have had 12 team fouls to 15 for the Blazers. And that just means that you're taking the game to them.
Warriors have hit 83% of their free throws. Portland 77. Warriors once again are the best free throwing club in the NBA. They've been just about the entire year. That's a good sign. 9 of the last 10 years, the best free throwing team in the NBA has qualified for the playoffs, Jim. And even though the Warriors are 4-11, when you look at a couple of factors, the toughness of the November schedule being number 1, right, and the weakness of the Western Conference after the top 5 teams, they can still make the playoffs.
Yeah, the top 5 teams are terrific, can do anything. But San Antonio dug a deep hole. Now this will be a non-shooting foul.
TRA is holding his right knee, stretching it out a little bit.
I think it's just right above the knee. Just as that quadricep comes down. Patella area. But San Antonio's dug a deep hole. Can Phoenix recover from their disastrous start?
San Antonio has dug the Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
it's 2-13.
It's a definite possibility.
I think they'll still make the playoffs, but they're going to be definitely on the road to begin the playoffs. And David may not be, but he may not play against the Warriors next week. Probably not. They see another week or 2 for David Robinson's return. Mullen, Joe Smith, up over Gary Trent. Looks like a whole different bunch of Warriors today. Mullen passing the ball beautifully. 5 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Warriors lead Portland again by double figures. They were up 14 early on, lost the lead. Now it's up to 16 again. Ryder flanks the rim. Sprewell rebounds and runs all by himself. Fouled. He wasn't waiting for anybody.
BJ said, "Oh, excuse me, I'll get out of the way."
You can't run with me. Just watch me.
No, this was really funny. Sprewell got the rebound, and he comes. Now watch BJ. Whoops. BJ says, I won't go to the lane. I'll let you go anywhere you want.
You know what's the first thing I think of when I saw that replay? Pamplona, Spain. And they're running with the Bulls. That's the way they run with the Bulls. Bull comes up behind you, and you just get out of the way, man. He's going to run right through you. 11-point first half for Sprewell. Latrell is the 5th top scorer in the NBA. And the 2nd best guard scorer behind Michael Jordan.
I'm still laughing at that point because, you know, Sprewell just with that tremendous open court speed, even with the ball in his hand.
Well, Dudley, he's walking all over the place. He didn't know what he wanted to do. Face up and shoot. Jump hook. Back down deeper. Did all 3.
He saw a smaller man, but he didn't know what to do with it. So he did turn his back to protect the ball and just made another move.
Well, the Warriors have already pulled more rebounds today than they did in the entire game, which is to be somewhat not expected but understood because there's so many more rebounds available. The shots have been flanking all angles. Joe Smith, another flank. The real story is that the Warriors have out-rebounded Portland by 11. 28-17.
They just ran a terrific play. They got an isolation with Sprewell on Kenny Anderson, but then Mullen flashed right down the middle, and a good whip pass, good recovery by Robinson, but now the Warriors still battle for the ball. Wide open.
Sprewell scores out of the corner. Warriors have a 14-point Sprewell show again today. Kenny Anderson's barking hard at Bruce Alexander. Portland, a very frustrated team. A 20-4 Warrior run, and they go up by 19 late in the half.
Introducing McDonald's Deluxe sandwiches. They're new, they're big, with fresh toppings and a bakery soft roll. The average adult has over 8,000 tastes.
Scored 119 on the Warriors. Jim shot 52% from the floor on Friday, but the Warriors defensively today look like an entirely changed outfit.
Well, I'll tell you, they've come out more aggressively in all facets of the game. Now watch this. Remember at the top of the game, Greg, I talked about Joe Smith. He's got to do something different. Here he's fronting Gary Trent and challenging as Ryder comes down here. But the key is this weak side. As you'll watch Andrew DeClercq, he has vision. Joe is fronting. Andrew DeClercq is there and comes over. The ball couldn't be thrown way over the top because it would have been intercepted by DeClercq. So they threw it a little short, and Joe Smith came up with the steal.
What does it all mean? Portland has scored 27 points. The fewest points the Warriors have ever allowed in one half is 31.
Those are just great adjustments that Rick Adelman's club has made today. There's a steal by Mullen.
Continues. Mullen hanging in with Clifford Robinson. DeClercq squirming around on the floor. And he gets a foul. Oh, yeah. Rick Adelman was trying to get a timeout.
I'll tell you, things are going so well, Rick Adelman's still going to call a 20-second timeout. Andrew DeClercq did not call it. There's the push, or the slap away by Mullen. DeClercq goes to the floor. They're going to get this foul on Chris Dudley. Good call, too. He was all over the arm of Andrew DeClercq. I like to see three guys go to the floor.
Well, the film session from yesterday obviously has helped the Warriors in their preparation for the game. They have a very good game plan today, and they are executing it. And that is the second part is always the key. The coaches can always lay out a very effective game plan, but the players have to go out and make the game plan become a reality.
You look at Mullen's numbers. He left early on the first quarter because of foul trouble, but in the first quarter, Mark Price played 10 minutes. He was pulled out, not because of poor play, did not score, but B.J. Armstrong has played so effectively. He's played the last 2 minutes of the first quarter and the first 10 minutes of this quarter.
Pretty well, that's going to be a traveling violation as he kind of forced his way in. Everything we said at the top of the broadcast the Warriors must do today, that they are doing. First of all, Wallace and Trent, who were huge factors against them on Friday, have combined to go 2 for 12 from the floor is all. The Warriors are rebounding much better. In fact, they're out rebounding the best rebounding team in the NBA by 12 rebounds. They're playing better defense.
It's pretty remarkable.
And they're getting production off the bench from B.J. Armstrong. B.J.'s played well, and Portland continues to just stumble all over themselves.
See the guy with the ball throwing it in to Clerk? He was in the backcourt and held up Kenny Anderson a moment ago, then recovered down clear to the lane, and they forced another turnover.
It all adds up to a 19-point Warrior advantage against a team they lost to by 26 just 2 nights ago. Make it a 21-point Warrior advantage and give B.J. Armstrong 11 first-half points.
You know, I knew B.J. did not want to be there at the end of the game on Friday night in Portland. 26-point blowout. You can just read his face, and I'll tell you, he has made a complete reversal here because he's in the game when the Warriors are doing the damage.
The only real problem the Warriors have had today is consistent foul trouble for the big men. Andrew DeClercq picks up his third. Dalton Spencer's already on the bench with 3. Todd Fuller's forced back into the game. He picked up 2 fouls in just 9 minutes of play earlier this afternoon. But DeClercq did a good job when he was out there, very aggressive and very helpful from the weak side with his defense.
It counts for a lot. It just changes the whole complexion of the game when you play like that. Look at this.
Another steal. That is Portland's 10th turnover. They have shot 22% from the floor in this first half, the Portland Trailblazers. And this could be history. Anderson missing a 3. Unless Portland gets 4 more points, this will be the best defensive half in the history of the Warriors franchise.
If you had told me that before the game,
Anderson, wow, what a play let go there as he just took it right away from B.J. And Anderson gives them 2 of the 4 they need. Warriors up 48-29. We have 50 seconds to go in the half.
B.J. Allen just taking right down the middle himself. You don't even need the screen. It's pretty. There we go.
Mullen set 2 screens for B.J. Finally it goes to Sprewell, to Mullen, back to Sprewell. Oh, they will disallow it, and that was in the cylinder still.
Joe Smith could not wait any longer. He had to rip that one. You've seen better passing than that, though, from this club. BJ finds Sprewell. Here's the final result. Yeah, that's definitely offensive interference. But Sprewell threw it to Mullen, threw it right back to Luttrell. That was terrific. Two-man wood.
B.J. Carlissimo, this tells you how important you think he deems this last play of the half. He brings Sabonis back in with 3 fouls. And I think he wants Sabonis to take a 3-point shot here. Watch him take a, instead of picking and pop it high.
He's a good safety valve in that situation.
Shot clock at 12, Jim. 20 seconds to go in the half. Here's the pick. No, he didn't even take the pick. Kenny slipped it. Missed. Fuller to Joe Smith. Warriors should take the last shot here. A little early, but Mullen lets it fly, and it was a 3-pointer.
Pressure in the backcourt. Right where BJ is. That's what you need.
If Portland does not score here, it's the best defensive half in the history of the Warrior franchise. Nope, it won't be. How do you like that? It's almost like Clifford Robinson knew. He made a 3, and it will not be history. The Warriors gave up 31 points, 1 half previously. This one's not too bad, though. 32 they give up, and they lead by 19. We'll head back inside our studios and rejoin Brian Weber after this break. Do not adjust your set. That number, those numbers are right. The Warriors up 19 on the Portland Trailblazers. They are rebounding and they are defending today, James. Take us through our Chrysler halftime highlights.
Well, you've got the best rebounding team in the league and one of the worst rebounding teams in the league, but they flip-flopped today. And it started out with defense. Mullen's done a terrific job on Clifford Robinson. Robinson only 1 basket. That was to close the half. But the rebounding situation, 31 rebounds to 18, and the Warriors have 10 offensive rebounds. And look at 7 block shots for the Warriors. This was Rasheed Wallace. Remember we talked about Joe Smith had to work harder, play him early, push him away from the block. He did that. He missed his first 6 shots of the game, and the Blazers 25%. I'd love to come on and say the Warriors shoot 40%, 11 turnovers, and they're ahead by 19. We talked about the bench and what they had to do. B.J. Armstrong came in with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter, and Armstrong in his 14 minutes contributed 11 points. He got to the free throw line 6 times. They haven't needed Mark Price. Mark Price has yet to score today, but B.J. has done so much. And also, the defense of all these guys helping out, and everyone's alert. They're all staying in the lane. They're getting the ball first, and then they're able to run. It's just been a flip-flop, and I think everybody is quite surprised.
Yes, everybody is. The Warrior coaches, though, put together an excellent game plan for the game. The players are executing it. But I think first and foremost in this sport, Jim, whoever plays harder usually plays better. And the Warriors played harder. And P.J. Carlissimo kept his Portland Trailblazers in that halftime locker room until about 3 minutes to go in the half, which is especially long. And I bet his voice right now is a little scratchy. And they didn't do anything. Look at the top scorers. Kenny Anderson had 7. I think it was 1 for 8 from the floor. Sabonis had 3 of 4. Rasheed Wallace, who was dominant on Friday night, nowhere. Likewise for Gary Trent. Clifford Robinson, who did make a late half 3, Jim, to give the Blazers a 19-point deficit, was really handled by Chris Mullen.
Well, I think Mullen's done a terrific job on him in both of these 2 games, going back to Friday night. That basket there was his only basket of the quarter, of the half. He was 1 for 3, and that was because Mullen had to come over and help out on Kenny Anderson. He was trying to avoid that situation because he knew Robinson was planted behind the line. But that's the only basket, and Mullen's worked hard and just not given him many opportunities.
Mark Price, who didn't play much in the first half, feeds Joe Smith, and he is shoved in the back. And Joe Smith will be on the free throw line. 3rd foul of this game levied on Rasheed Wallace. The first 2 games against the Warriors, both victories back on November the 5th, 111-93 of pounding. And then again on Friday night, 119-93 of pounding. He was the most dominant inside player, or player period, but he's been nowhere so far today.
I love Rick Adelman's play coming out of the half. It's almost like George Seifert has it scripted the first 16 plays. You can't do that in basketball, but you certainly can script the first 1 or 2. And they had a little play here where Joe Smith went right down the lane, a little backdoor play. He got the basket, or got the ball, had a chance to make an easy basket, got himself to the line.
And if you're a Warrior fan, just hope that Rick didn't sign somebody's autograph on the back of those scripted plays and it wound over to P.J. Carlissimo. You may have a problem. Sabonis with the sweeping hook he likes to shoot. Price out to Mullen. Mullen over Robinson. Mullen has just outplayed him today. It's that simple. And that's a matchup that you would think would be difficult because of Robinson's immense size. Speaking of immense size, the 7'3" 292-pound Arvydas Sabonis.
Married to a former Miss Vilnius in Lithuania. That's where Šarūnas Maršalonis is from.
And Maršalonis has a huge hotel there with a nice sports bar inside. Joe Smith, the jump hook. Rebound, Felton Spencer. What's gotten into him today?
He just pushed Sabonis further under the basket. Spencer had 7 points in his 8 minutes on the floor, and now he's picking up again in the third quarter.
Now, Spencer's a pretty good matchup for him.
He is. Look at him. It's bulk against bulk. Not a lot of quickness between the two.
Got made from the deep baseline by Clifford Robinson. Mark Price played only 10 minutes in the first half, in large part because B.J. Armstrong was just very good in the 14 that he played off the bench. Sprewell, late decision to throw it inside. It will be a Warrior basketball still. It was deflected out by Rasheed Wallace. Sprewell trying to hit Joe Smith.
Sprewell's in the top 20 in the league in assists, handling the ball so much, and he's looking for people. He's developing a big aspect of his game that way. Now, are they going to get some Price or Sabonis?
Sabonis. John Sabonis.
He's laid out now.
He may not get out.
He's just going to be laughing about this one.
He's off the floor again.
I can't win for losing.
Any more calls like this, I'm going back to Lithuania.
Well, it took him 10 years to get him out of Europe and in the NBA. That's a tough one to call. That's basically
He's
what
going to
he's
play.
called.
Might as well leave him out. He's not going to get the minutes anyway. He's already got 4 fouls. Joe Smith. Oh, volleyball everywhere. Spencer went off his head. And Spencer goes back holding his thumb. Remember, he injured that thumb earlier.
It's going to be sore all year long in all likelihood.
And he's playing with a sprained right thumb. Suffered against Utah about 10 days ago. Sprewell the block. Kenny Anderson to the floor, but without the basketball. Price has it. Blazers are back. Price a three-pointer. Warriors lead by 25. Felton Spencer is in pain.
They're going to foul.
They have to foul. Felton Spencer is over the end line in a heap. It's, I think, the thumb. I assume the thumb, or did he get hit in the gut afterwards? Or the groin, possibly.
You can see him holding the thumb up there. It's taped, but he gets hit. Now you're going to, this is the thumb play. Right there. I'll tell you, he got pulled by Sabonis. The ball didn't hit the thumb, but Sabonis yanked on his hand. But he was hurt at this end of the floor. Right here, Kenny Anderson. The left knee goes right into the midsection of Felton Spencer. You know, Anderson's a lot stronger than you might think. He recovered that ball very well. And Spencer, surely he's not going to be out because of this, only temporarily, I would think.
Yeah, he's just got a little loss of wind. Kenny Anderson was called for a technical because Kenny gives you a glare to end all glares. The referee, Kenny just picked up a technical. Mark Price, after his three-pointer, gave the Warriors a lead of 25. Hits the technical to give the Warriors a lead of 26 points against the team they lost to by 26 this Friday night. Todd Fuller is in for the generally sore Felton Spencer. Now, you're right, the thumb is a more long-term problem. And McKee throws it away. Latrell Sprewell! Yeah!
What a play by Price again. He did that up in Portland the other night. He just smelled the play.
3 minutes into the second half, the Warriors have opened up a lead of 19 at the half to 28 big ones. Ryder makes it 25. Ryder has 7 points today. That's his first three-pointer made in his 4th try.
You don't want to rush things, but you don't want to stay unaggressive. You want to keep charging and challenging.
The next few minutes will be critical. Probably will decide the afternoon. The Warriors can stay on top of this team. Portland probably won't have the legs for the fourth quarter to make a real feverish rally. Good rebound by Todd Fuller.
Very good as he moved his body.
Price. That would have been a big one. Portland knows they have to spurt right here. McKee gets inside of Price. He's playing point guard now for Anderson. McKee rolls over Price. They're both all right. Mullen. Into Todd Fuller. Nope. He'll go again. The Warriors lead 66-39. A timeout for PJ.
This copyrighted broadcast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
It is a 27-point lead for the Warriors on plays like this. Watch in the middle of your screen. Todd Fuller recognizes that Rasheed Wallace is wide open, and he covers for Joe Smith on the play. Joe Smith then covers for Mullen. And then Sprewell steps in front of Sabonis, and Fuller got the rebound on that play. That's what you call making adjustments. And Rick Adams has done a good job of getting his ball team prepared today to do that.
Can you believe the Warriors have out-rebounded this team 36-21? Sprewell, a three is an air ball. They went out of bounds off of, look at a jump in.
I thought it went off the Blazers. At least the Warriors have an equal opportunity here. You know, I talk about the adjustments, but it's also the execution. And they're just simply executing like a first-rate club now. The Warriors got the ball.
Sprewell out of the corner. Rebound Rasheed Wallace.
You got the Blazers on their heels. Just keep attacking. Take it to the basket. They will foul you because they'll simply give up on the plays. So often that situation.
Portland shooting only 28% from the floor. They have turned the ball over 13 times. They've been out-rebounded by 14. And they look just out of sorts. Ryder will go in himself. Whoa! When you can do that, go in by yourself. What was that?
You thought of it at the last moment. That was a terrific, terrific basket.
They should run that play again. Run the Ryder play where he goes and spins 360 by the rim. What a play. Warriors throw it away. Portland looking for energy after that Ryder acrobatic shot. Blocked cleanly by Joe against McKee. Big play by Joe Smith. 25-point Warrior lead. Mullen in the wing. Joe Smith will fire, though, and make it. 10 points, 7 rebounds for Joe. But it's been his defense.
That was a good play by Spree, too, because he was wide open at the top. And he just simply waited for another man. Spree missing his last couple from the outside. This is thrown away.
Sabonis just locked up today by the referees and the Warriors' big man. Look at this Ryder play. Coming right at you.
Well, a lot of times the 360 doesn't gain an advantage. But that does gain an advantage as he lost Joe Smith on the play. And by this spin, he protects the ball. A little unorthodox because there are very few people who could make that kind of move and finish inside.
PJ Carlesimo searching for answers, calls on Alexander Djordjevic. Actually his third point guard, if you want to call Aaron McKee their backup point guard. Here is Djordjevic from Yugoslavia. He has the basketball now. He made his NBA debut against the Warriors on Friday night.
Well, Mullen three-pointer. They tried to get to the shooting side of Clifford Robinson, couldn't quite make it, went to the left side of Robinson with that height advantage and length advantage of the arm, didn't even phase him. But this game, I want to caution, we know, we've seen too many. It is not over. You've got to continue to do the things that got you to this place initially.
There's a block. Sprewell will get it back, though. Mullen out of the corner. Rebound pulled by Djordjevic. You may remember him from the silver medal winning Yugoslavian national team.
You can't let him shoot.
He can really stroke it. Good three-point shooter, 46%. from his international competition, a great free throw shooter also. Portland, are they back in the game? We'll find out here. It's now a 21-point lead. Warrior lead down to 21, but still very much in command of this basketball game. The next time you're on the internet and you're looking for a place to hang out for a while, get on America Online, hit Digital City San Francisco Sports, type in the keyword Sports Channel, and you can chat one-on-one with Rennell, the host of KMEL's morning show and also Sports Channel's Sports in the Classroom show, and she does work on the Oakland A's show this past summer. Warriors, led by 19 at halftime, opened up a huge edge of 28 early in this third quarter. The last couple of moments, though, Portland starting to play a little bit better. We'll see if it's a real trend. Portland 6 for 10 in the quarter. They've made 3 of 5 beyond the line. One made just a moment ago by Djordjevic, and earlier 3-pointers knocked down by Ryder and Clifford Robinson. There goes Fuller, trapped. Gary Trent in the game. Warriors throw it away. A lot of basketball yet to go. Almost 17 full minutes to play today. Oh, good play by Price. Took it away on the bounce pass into Trent. Up the floor. He'll be on the line for 2. He would have liked 3, but he'll take 2. That was a nice end-to-end rush by Mark Price.
Mark Price, not known for his defense, made a steal just a couple of moments ago, and then comes back with his second of the quarter. Good anticipation as he just battled inside. Didn't get quite the lift here that he wanted because it was not a hard foul. That was a makeable layup attempt.
Felton Spencer went out earlier in the quarter. Re-injured that sprained right thumb. He has wrapped up and also took a knee into the midsection, but he's back in. Todd Fuller leaves. Mark Price gives the Warriors a lead of 70 to 47. They double team Clifford Robinson. Spencer rotates back, and I believe they were illegal. Huh?
I think Mullen was holding.
A holding foul on Mullen, his third. Although Felton Spencer has a long way to go to double team to help and also get back on to Sabonis.
Mullen is making his claim that he was legal because the arm was bent. You can't put the hand out, but you can put the arm in the back when there's a low block.
Sabonis to the come near side. Ryder going to drive and be fouled by Springwell.
That's pretty good defense, folks. Because it was all body. And I don't mind a bump if it's all body. There's no... Watch the hands here. Doesn't need them. That's pretty good recovery. There's a little bump, but about as good as you can expect against a quick, strong guy like Ryder.
Sabonis missing again. Rebound pulled down by Joe Smith. Warriors 39 to 24. They lead the all-important rebounding column against the best rebounding team in the NBA.
Mullen rotated out of trouble. Did not pull up the dribble. Fuller did a moment ago.
This was poked by Portland. The Warriors will have time. They have to rush it up, though. 4, 3. Price, the step back. That's a tough shot. Air ball. It goes to Portland.
24 violation.
We have 3 minutes and 46 seconds to play in this third quarter, and they will be very important minutes. Portland needs to carve into this lead at least down to 15 or so if they're going to have any hope in the fourth quarter. There's Djordjevic. To Robinson. Into Sabonis. Robinson. Long rebound. Djordjevic races down. Felton Spencer dives over the press table and the Warrior bench. He'll get a big ovation for his hustle. He is all right.
Tim Roy lost his chair.
Lucky he didn't lose more than that.
You're going to see this because Felton, number one, takes a while to get there, but once he's there, he can't stop. That is a runaway locomotive.
Here's Djordjevic again open behind the line. This one's a miss. Rebound Sabonis. That's going to be a foul on the Warriors this time. And it's Mullins' foul, his fourth. Take a look at Felton. Look at Tim Roy, the radio voice of the Warriors. Stand up. Get out of the way. Nice little right turn he took, Felton. not bad.
Tim was, in fact, I'm surprised he didn't duck under the table. But he knocked his chair over. His anxiousness to get off the ground and get away.
Donald Royal is in. Chris Mullen leaves. Well, at 11 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Joe Smith falls down. Gary Trent will storm the baseline. One of the few times Trent has had an opening today.
Well, still, no Blazers in double-digit scoring. They've done a terrific job on the front line in contrast to the 2 previous games.
Royal against Robinson.
And Robinson can be a good defender.
He was that time. And it's Portland's basketball. They called a 3-second violation on the Warriors' Donald Royal. 2:43 to go. Portland, who was down 28, now down 21 with the ball. Rasheed Wallace is also back in. They take Sabonis out. Portland playing Djordjevic at the point guard with Ryder at big guard, a front line of Trent, Robinson, and Rasheed.
Robinson wants to come out. Clifford is tired. He pointed over to PJ.
Wallace up for a dunk, and now Robinson can leave because Rasheed Wallace will shoot 2 free throws. Felton Spencer picks up his 4th foul. Felton Spencer leaves, and Andrew DeClerc.
PJ's ignoring him. He's ignoring the request of Clifford Robinson, but Robinson is visibly tired. And there was no mistake about it. Looked at PJ and said, me, I got to get out.
Somewhat surprising. This is the time he normally brings Dudley in, and they could use a center on the floor. Although what PJ is saying is, we're down 21. If you want to rest, take the 4th quarter off, but cut this lead down to 15. And then we'll talk about rest in the 4th quarter. This is the game right here. Rasheed just has not played today like he played against the Warriors the first 2 times, and that is a massive understatement. He's 1 for 8 from the floor, 2 of 4 line. He scored a meager 4 points after lighting up the Warriors for 32 and 20 in the first 2 matchups of the year. Sprewell right down the lane. Nice pass by Mark Price.
They almost sometimes get a better result in a 2-man game between the 2 guards than the guard center.
Ryder, no. Portland made us wave the white flag in the 4th quarter now. They needed to play better at the end of the 3rd. Offensive foul on Andrew DeClerc. A very early whistle on that pick he was setting. It's his 4th foul.
I think Rick's wondering what happened. Did he move too quickly? Here's a 2-man game between Price and Sprewell. Look at this. Isolation on the floor, no adjustment, and a great execution. DeClerc's got to hold that pick a little longer is what happened at the other end.
He's going to have to shoot it eventually here, Ryder. And it's a 3. Well, there are some days when Ryder looks to blend in and not be the guy. This may be the day he just should become the guy. If they have any hope of getting back Jim, he may have to carry him back.
Good point.
20-point Warrior lead.
And he's one guy that can go one-on-one from the outside, doesn't need screens. In fact, I think he prefers to go one-on-one rather than have another man come in and bring a defender.
Oh, Sprewell. Another magnificent shot. He has become a shot maker. And that's something he did not have in his game.
He's got a variety of shots.
There's Djordjevic. Little pull-up. Rebound punched out of bounds. Waiting for a verdict from the referees. Apparently it's Portland's ball still. Yes, it is. Warriors bring Ray Owes back in. Owes played 3 minutes in the first half. Did not score, nor did he pull a rebound. Andrew DeClerc leaves. 45 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. Sprewell pokes it out. Warriors, knowing that Ryder's the guy that could really hurt him here, going to clamp down a little bit harder. Shot clock at 21. Portland 31.5% shooting today. There's Trent up over Joe. Good defense again by Joe Smith. Joe's having one of his best, if not his finest, defensive game of the year.
Yeah, he's making Rasheed Wallace work. That time he made Gary Trent work and take a fadeaway jump shot. He's keeping them both out of the lane for the most part. Price just going one-on-one with Djordjevic. No screen, just isolation play, breaking down.
Foul is called on Djordjevic. They signed him to a contract in late September. 21 seconds to go in the third quarter. 74-52 Warriors. So it looks like they're going to get out of this quarter with a massive lead. And if they just play well enough the first couple of moments of the fourth, they should be able to hold on here. Sprewell. Ball goes to the weak side. Rayos back to Price. Price, a three-point goal. That one would have really done in Portland. Rebound to Trent. Wallace is down. And Price went for a mid-court steal. Didn't get it, but he hassled Djordjevic enough to prevent a long fling by the Yugoslavian. That's it. Warriors began the third quarter with a lead of 19 and leave with a lead of 22. Blazers 16-2. Halfway through the first quarter. At halftime, they led by 19. Built the lead up to 28. Portland was making a slight run there late in the third quarter, but then the Warriors ran off and reopened a lead of 22 points. Good late play in that quarter from both Sprewell and Joe Smith.
Sprewell has a distinct advantage over Djordjevic, but watch his shot. As Rasheed Wallace comes out to block, Sprewell shoots the ball on the way up and lofts it way up in the air. But here's the difference in the game, in my opinion today. The adjustment by Joe Smith. He's played Rasheed Wallace well. Here he makes Trent take the fadeaway jump shot, gets the rebound. Joe Smith, 10 points and 10 rebounds as a double-double. Here's the guy that helped him in the second quarter today, B.J.
B.J. Armstrong has led a very strong bench brigade for the Warriors. And McKee looking to do likewise off Portland's bench, but he airballs that one. Fourth quarter begins with the Warriors playing an Armstrong-Sprewell backcourt, front line of Royal, O's, and Joe Smith. Portland has Kenny Anderson back in at point guard, along with Aaron McKee. Royal scores, and he'll try to make it a trifecta. He is fouled by D'Antonio Wingfield, who just checked into the game at the beginning of this quarter for Portland. He wears number 10.
Wingfield, originally drafted by Seattle in '94, the number 37 pick. He's still a young guy. He only played 1 year of collegiate ball at Cincinnati.
And a pretty good player, scored 16 points a game. Here in Seattle, spent last year in Portland. Warriors up 77-52. Pretty much lights out, huh? Rasheed Wallace. 1 for 9 today. Came into the game the second best floor shooter in the league behind Shaq. He didn't miss very many shots at North Carolina, Jim. He shot 64% his 2 years at Carolina. That's the best percentage in the history of the Atlantic Coast Conference.
It's pretty impressive. We want to talk about percentage. Gary Trent, ready for this in high school. The senior year, shot 81.5%. That's an Ohio schoolboy record. 81.5% from Gary Trent in high school.
Another Warrior takeaway. Sprewell with the miss. Warriors may actually allow Sprewell some time on the bench today.
Well, I would think that if this trend continues for the next, say, 5-6 minutes, that both benches would be clear.
Joe Smith has played very well defensively. Sprewell's played every minute so far in the game. And he does lead the NBA in minutes played.
Well, Rick doesn't want to take any chances. And I don't blame him at all. He's playing just really good defense.
Foul on Joe Smith. Joe his third foul of the game.
Ryder is their only player in double digits. And he's on the bench right now, but Sprewell's made him work for every one of those points. BJ just ought to play Kenny a little softer to make him stay outside so he can't beat you off the dribble.
There is Rasheed Wallace. He was the number 4 pick overall in the draft in '95. Number Joe went number 1. Antonio McDyess, who we'll see on Tuesday, went number 2. Jerry Stackhouse 3, and Wallace went number 4. Wallace made the all-rookie second team last year with the Bullets, but he played behind Weber and Howard, and playing time was tough. Clean block, they say, for Dudley. Shot clock reset. Sprewell, 3. 23-point afternoon for Latrell Sprewell. P.J. Carlesimo will call a 20-second timeout.
We keep talking about the Blazers, and we'll just finish on them. They are the youngest team in the league. Although their first-team all-rookie performer last year, Sabonis, is going on 32 years of age. Now, Donald Royal gets by Wingfield again. That's a good block up by Dudley. Dudley does react quickly. Works around, a three-pointer by Sprewell. Good rotation of the ball. 26-point lead.
Everybody connected with the Warrior organization has to be proud with their performance today. Look at that. 16 rebounds, the edge for the Warriors against Portland. And they were out-rebounded 50-27 on Friday night. Portland throws it away. The Blazers have played poorly. They have cooperated. But the Warrior coaches, Jim, have just executed, I should say, devised a magnificent game plan. A lot went into this with the film work yesterday, and the players had to go out and play it.
They lit a fire under them, and the players have responded.
Royal now. Barber, Joe Smith. Bodies everywhere.
Donald Royal, he's a very mild-mannered guy. He's not going to get a technical, but I think he has every reason to complain. This is one of those games, too, that as it goes deeper into the fourth quarter, if it's a 30-point lead, Joe Smith just being held inside. A lot of times the officials don't make a lot of calls, so you have to be prepared for that. It can become very physical. They're not going, they just want the game to get over sometimes.
Sprewell still out there against Kenny Anderson. And he draws a foul.
Kenny Anderson, Archbishop Malloy High School in Queens, New York City. Didn't start as a freshman. His coach wouldn't do it. A gentleman named Curran, but he couldn't keep him out of the game. They won the city championship, and he was the MVP as a freshman in high school.
And then it was on to Georgia Tech, where he was a part of Lethal Weapon 3 along with Dennis Scott and Brian Oliver. And he was drafted by New Jersey in round number 1 of 91. Speaking of college hoops, Wake Forest, the ACC representative there against the Richmond Spiders. They'll have that for you tonight at 8:30. The Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Rasheed Wallace knows about the ACC, where he played with, I should say, under Dean Smith.
You know, Kenny Anderson, 2 years at Georgia Tech under Bobby Crimmins, finished in the top 5 scoring of all time in 2 years, averaging 23 a game. He was the second overall pick after his sophomore season.
Holding foul inside. Latrell Sprewell back on the line. Sprewell.
Enough of the college here. This is the NBA.
Sprewell with 6 free throw attempts. 7 and 8 will be coming up. Kenny Anderson, number 2 pick in 91, as I mentioned, behind Larry Johnson. He had some good times in New Jersey. One year he was an All-Stars, 3rd year there, but overall, as you mentioned, growing up in Queens, it was tough for him to play in New Jersey. And last year, the Nets decided to trade both Derek Coleman and Kenny Anderson. And after finishing up last year with the Hornets, he signed on with Portland this past July, getting a monstrous multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract.
Leads them in scoring. But, you know, the measure of Kenny Anderson won't be this year or even next, but a couple of years down the line. Because he has had up and down seasons. Can he get consistent? There's no question about his talent.
And a block shot inside. Royal is called for the foul. Did get the block cleanly, though, for Donald, his first foul of the afternoon.
You know, Greg, a lot of times the guy goes to a new team. His first year he performs exceptionally well. But the measure of a man is, can he do it year in and year out? I mean, will he make that kind of commitment to the organization? They've made a commitment to him.
Antonio Wingfield has lost his spot in the rotation. He played reasonably heavy minutes off the bench early in the year, about 15 a game, but the last 3 he's not played much. If he free throws more like that, he won't get any playing time. Those are bad free throws. He's a pretty good free throw shooter, Wingfield.
He's sometimes you lose confidence, particularly when you're young. That's what it's mental toughness at this level.
83-56, the Warriors just overwhelming the Portland Trailblazers today. It is a 30-point advantage as B.J. Armstrong knocks down a three-point goal. B.J. with 14 points this afternoon off the bench. That's his first three of the afternoon, and B.J. only has a handful of three-pointers on the year. That's only his fourth made, 4 for 19. Wingfield lost it. Sprewell. It's a Warrior avalanche. 32-point lead.
Yeah, they got to bring Sprewell out. You know what? He doesn't want to come out. I guarantee you, he doesn't want to come out.
Adelman's still coaching it very hard. He wants this game. They're up 32. We all know what happened in Denver last week when they blew, what was it, a 34-point lead at halftime in Salt Lake City. That's just incredible. 34 points, they were up at half and lost the game.
You don't think Rick Allen wasn't aware of that today?
He knows. We got a timeout coming up here to the Warriors. 5 minutes into the fourth quarter, the Warriors have not let up a bit. Sprewell with 28 this afternoon.
Brian, Greg Papa has been devastated because he is the #1 Buffalo Bill fan. That's your hometown. I'm sorry.
Did Brian mention that Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas did not play in that game? Here's your NBA notebook of the afternoon, brought to you by Discover Card. Joe Smith is number 3 as far as sophomore scoring leaders in the NBA. 1 slot ahead of Antonio McDyess. Will have a rematch of the #1 pick of the '95 draft versus the #2 pick of the '95 draft as Joe Smith takes on Antonio McDyess this Tuesday night. We'll have it for you on Sports Channel. The first time they met in Denver, Antonio McDyess badly outplayed Joe Smith.
Interesting we talk about Joe Smith because his scoring is up this year, and yet we look at him as not having as productive a year as he did last year as a rookie.
Although those numbers only tell part of the story. His defense has not been nearly as good until today. And I think Joe may have played his best defensive game of the year today. Clifford Robinson can't get inside against Joe enough to score. Wingfield runs it down. Foul on Sprewell. Sprewell stays out there. This is surprising to me that he's come out after the timeout.
It's not to me because, first of all, Rick doesn't feel this game is completely over. And also, Sprewell probably said, no, I'm fine, that's how you go. So we've got a day off tomorrow. This is an early game. We actually have more than 48 hours between the games.
They're down 32, Portland. When's it going to be over? 6.5 minutes to go. They'll give another minute then?
I'll say one thing.
We'll give them 1 more minute.
Hasn't happened very frequently or very often this year where the Warriors can have a little fun at the end of the game. Maybe up in Vancouver. Portland had a lot of fun less than 48 hours ago at the Warriors' expense.
B.J. Armstrong, 16-point day. 90-56 Warriors. That's a 34-point advantage. In all fairness, Jim Harbaugh didn't play for the Colts either. But no Kelly and no Thurman Thomas, Brian. You got to slip that in. Did he mention that? Clifford Robinson knows he's a big Buffalo Bills fan growing up in Buffalo, New York. Probably the second greatest player outside of that city behind Bob Lanier. Over the end line. It's out of bounds off of Dudley. The Warriors will keep the basketball when we come back to San Jose. 5:43 to go in this one.
I've been around this land of ours from sea to shining. If it stands for anything, man is free.
Today for P.J. Carlesimo in his 3rd year coaching in the NBA after 12 highly successful seasons at Seton Hall University. You know, John Calipari was here with the Nets on Thursday. He's a rookie head coach in the NBA after 8 years at UMass. We asked P.J. before the game to compare his situation in the NBA to that of Calipari's.
system. I mean, I was so much more fortunate than John, at least initially, because I came into an established team. My first Portland team had, you know, Clyde and Buck and Jerome and Terry. We had like 9 guys that had been playing together for a long time, and we had a playoff team right away. And I was able to assemble a real top-flight staff of assistants with Dick Harder, Rick Carlisle, and formerly Johnny Davis, now Elston Turner. So, I mean, my situation was so different. He comes into a team that's rebuilding, a young team, a team in transition. They made a lot of moves, and a team that's very difficult to win games with. So people, you know, someone calls John in 2 years and say, hey, John, what's it like to coach in the NBA? He's going to give him a lot different picture than what it's been like for me in a much more stable, structured, successful situation.
Clifford Robinson with the hoop. He has 11. Portland down by 32. New Jersey got a win last night at the LA Sports Arena against the Clippers for Calipari. They're playing better. They played well against the Warriors, certainly here on Thanksgiving night. That's out of bounds off of Donald Royal. I think Calipari and PJ are going to be good coaches in this league, Jim, because they both have the energy. It was a mistake for Tarkanian to come to this league so late in life. I mean, you really have to have it. These guys have been criticized for being leapers on the bench, and they're too this, they're too that, but you really have to, have a lot of spunk to coach in this league.
You've got to have a lot of enthusiasm. You've got to have the commitment. It's a grueling schedule, and it's very different at this level psychologically with these players. You don't have the control over the players like you did in college.
And those close to the Blazers say that Carlissimo has backed off a little bit. In his third year, he's not nearly as up and down as he was his first couple of years. What does all this mean? Warriors have allowed 58 points today, and they may be on their way to history, both franchise and West Coast. So Portland needs to get 12 more points or 13 more points to avoid those dubious distinctions in the 4 minutes and 47 seconds.
I know the way to do it. Every time the Blazers get the ball,
I know what you're going to say.
Yep, foul Chris Dunn. I love the guy. I don't want him to take this wrong, but you could foul him every time down the floor, and probably
you're terrible.
I know. He might not make that 13.
They're not going to do that.
No, I know.
They foul Will Chamberlain, though. Or foul the New York Knicks to give both a chance to score 100.
Well, one thing you have a better chance if you use your own 24-second clock all the time. That's a reach in by BJ. And that will be a shooting foul, and Sasha Djordjevic will convert, I would think, 2 free throws.
His given name is Alexander, and like Danilovic from Miami, his nickname is Sasha. What does Sasha mean? Good shooter?
I know this. That's his first free throw of his NBA career.
I think Dudley got Joe in the chin right there, little elbow.
Wow, that's dangerous.
Joe's on the bench. He looks okay. Andrew DeClerc is in. Sprewell's left the game, hasn't he? Yeah, Sprewell's out now. I think Adelman feels comfortable. He's pulled Sprewell out. 28 points for the trail. 7 rebounds, 4 assists. Lou Rowe is in for the first time.
I told you Djordjevic wouldn't miss. He hasn't missed a free throw in his NBA career. 1,000%.
So Mark Price is no longer the all-time record holder. You have to have a minimum of a shot.
2 for 2 doesn't qualify.
All right, though. He's on it good. Stepped out, B.J. Armstrong. Warriors keep it, but they don't have a whole lot of time to work. Shot clock down to 5. Very nice game today for B.J. He needed it individually, and the Warriors needed it as a group. He had 16 points, 5 of 8 floor, made 5 of 6 free throws. Got up 16, scored 16 points in 22 minutes. Offensive foul on Andrew DeClerc. The Warriors have had a much more difficult time today with the guys wearing the gray shirts than they have with the guys wearing the black shirts. But neither one will cause them enough problem to prevent them from getting win number 5 on the year. And this is certainly going to be their most satisfying victory of the season. Milwaukee, the only other club they have beaten with a better than 500 record. 3-pointer made from the wing by Wingfield. But Milwaukee, young and coming, Jim, not at the caliber of Portland. This is their best win of the season.
Well, I think it's a combination of 2 things. Number 1, the Warriors came out and they created their opportunity. Number 2, perhaps the Blazers did come in a little bit overconfident. Ryder blocked. Remember on the radio show after the game, he said that the 26-point loss could be demoralizing. it's really not that way. It actually can work and have a reverse effect, and it may have just done that for the Warriors.
Here goes Royal. Lost it, but picked up by Rayos.
PJ knows the time on the clock.
Royal better hustle. Hit the rim, but didn't go in. Winfield a little behind the back. Georgievich up the floor. Clifford Robinson wants to pad his scoring total. Only has 11 today. Ryder. Portland can't shoot. The Warriors have defended very well today. They've not had many open shots, but when they have been left open, they have hurt the rims. 30.6% Portland from the floor. 22 of 72. There's a foul on the wing. Called on Georgievich, and that's the way it is pronounced. It is spelled D-J-O-R-D-J-E-V-I-C. It's pronounced Georgievich. Andrew DeClerc is done for the afternoon. There is Alexander Sasha, 29 years of age. A.J. Armstrong, 2.5 to play. Also a very good win for the Warriors heading into the remainder of this week. This could be a very, very good week for the Warriors.
It could start a very good
games.
Yes.
They could beat Denver on Tuesday, Phoenix on the road Wednesday, Indiana, San Antonio. All 4 of those games are very, very winnable.
Yeah, it would be nice to put a little winning streak together when you're coming in with the losing streak that the Warriors have come in with today.
And the following week, the Warriors will be on the East Coast at Toronto, New York, and Cleveland. Dudley, former Cavalier. Ray O's. Todd Fuller. A little strong with 2 hands there.
He could just go right into the left hand on that. You don't always have to go with the right hand. He chooses to so often on that side. But there was no one between him and the basket.
And he is left-handed. Clifford. Out to Wingfield. Nope.
It was a 23-foot shot that went 19-6.
Royal in the back. He got it.
Right over our cameraman. I think that's Marcus down there.
See all right? Take a look here.
Over the top. Tough foul. Oh, look at this. Yep, no spill. Donald Royal was very considerate.
Your drink man. All over your lap. No, he didn't spill anything. Well, the Warriors here have a chance at franchise history. They just missed it, remember, in the first half when Robinson made that late 3 to give Portland a 32-point half. The previous record was 31. But 70 is the franchise record. 71 is the West Coast record for points allowed in the game. So here we go. Can Portland get to 70? Foul on Donald Royal on the pass. Doesn't matter if it was a pass or a shot. The Warriors are over the limit, and Isaiah Ryder will shoot 2 free throws.
You know his mother, in all likelihood, would be here tonight, or today.
Well, his mom will forever be remembered in NBA history the night she walked down the court to drag him. She grabbed him by the ear, no, not quite by the ear. She took him off the floor after he got kicked out of the game by the referee. She walked down the floor and took her son off the court. He wouldn't leave. Yeah, I wonder if they brought that up in the locker room.
Yeah,
you think so?
He would get teased, you would think,
A little bit. No one's ever accused Ryder of being a mama's boy, but no. Lou Rowe travels. Portland has 93 seconds to score either 5 or 6 points. They need 7 to wipe themselves clean, right? Could have a hard time getting 7 minutes. Blocked. Rayos, their offense has been awful. The Warriors defense been rock solid. Portland is shooting 29% for the game. Lou Rowe, nope. Todd Fuller, nope, but he'll shoot 2 free throws with exactly 60 seconds to go. This will also be a Portland Trailblazer all-time low, likely, as the fewest points they've ever scored in the game, 72. In fact, they did it last January at the Delta Center. Now,
I know the question. You could ask P.J. Carlesimo. Of course, we don't see this team until April the 1st up in Portland. But what was the reason for leaving Clifford Robinson in the game for all these minutes? He's still on the floor. And so is Isaiah Ryder. I mean, why isn't Mitchell Butler playing?
For Randolph Childress.
Randolph Childress. I'm very curious.
Robinson will use the playing time to increase the scoring total. He has 13. 96 to 67. This very likely will be an historic afternoon for the Golden State Warriors. After allowing Portland only 32 points in the first half, it looks like the Blazers are not going to hit 70 for the entire game. And no opponent in the history of this franchise has ever failed to score 70 points against the Warriors. And we're talking 50-plus years, this being the 51st year of the franchise's history.
Well, you can say what you want, and this will now add a little more fuel into the debate why our team's not scoring as much. But I think it comes down to one thing today. Well, there's lots of things, but you said a moment ago, the Blazers can't shoot the ball today. There are so many guys in the game today that just aren't great shooters. You know, you've got streaky shooters, but not a great shooter.
30 seconds to go. A three-pointer by Djordjevic. How do you like that? They hit 70.
I almost said this is one guy. I could see it coming. This is one guy that is a pure shooter.
Lou Rowe.
Everybody wants Lou Rowe to get on the board.
Rayo is blocked by Dudley. Portland, they got one more basket. They'll be off the hook. Is he going to do it late again? Nope, this time he misses. It's not going to be a French. Oh, he threw it away. Hold on, 3.1 to go. The players likely have no idea what's going on. They would not be notified of such plays like this, unless it's Royals' former teammate Anthony Bowie, then he'd be calling timeouts.
They were yelling.
Double.
Oh no.
Nope. It ties a franchise record for the Warriors. It establishes a West Coast record for the Warriors, and for Portland, it is their lowest scoring total in the history of their franchise. They only got 70 today, folks, after scoring 119 against the Warriors on Friday. Warriors win big. We'll come back.